Zack Snyder's Justice League is an amazing movie. I mean, it's really so great. I can't stop singing its praises. It is, I think it might be my new favorite superhero movie of all time. And I might be just riding off the high of just watching it, you know. But I really liked what we got. This was the movie that we were supposed to see back in 2017, and then the release the Snyder Cut movie came along, and there were people saying that, oh, it doesn't exist. Oh, it's probably not even that good. Bunch of haters on the internet, bunch of naysayers. It's never gonna happen. But here we are. It's on HBO Max. You can watch it now. This is crazy. It's amazing. I really liked the movie. The movie is it's 4 hours long. It's a really long movie, but I felt myself wanting it to be even longer. How is that even possible? But that's how good it is. That's how good I think it is. The movie does this thing like towards the end, it feels like it's over, and then it just keeps going. You're like, it ends. You're like, oh man, what a great way to end the movie. And then there's another scene. You're like, what? And then it ends, and you're like, oh man, that was a good way to end the movie. And then it just keeps it does this like four times, and I'm like, as soon as it does end, I'm like, oh man, I wish there was even more, which is crazy. This thing is 4 hours long. It kept me at the edge of my seat the whole time, and I wanted to be even longer. Who would have thought? There's some people out there who are saying like 4 hours. Oh man, it's too long, man. It's too long. But let me tell you, the movie is it's really well paced. Every second counts. Not a second is wasted. Not in my opinion, and I feel like a lot of fans agree. But as long as this movie is, it's so good that you'll beg for another hour, which is so weird. Like an hour passes by, and you're like, "There's still 3 hours left." Yes, and then 2 hours in, you're like, "There's still 2 hours left of this thing." Yes. So I mean, it just keeps going on like that. I mean, I sincerely enjoyed every second of it, and I gotta say, this is not gonna be a biased review because I'm heavily biased. I'm a big fan of Zack Snyder, big DC Comics fan, so this is just to be able to sit and watch this thing, it's like a dream come true. I mean, I love Man of Steel. I love Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition, longest title for a movie, but dude, that Batman v Superman, if you haven't seen it yet, the Ultimate Edition, I think it's on HBO Max. Dude, go and watch that thing. That movie's much better than what the critics are saying. I don't care what your friends have told you. It's really good. Um, you just gotta sit there and absorb it all in. I think that I don't know, man. It seems like there's just so much unnecessary hate for Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, and I'm really hoping that because this phenomenon that we know as the Snyder Cut, because of this, I hope it encourages people to go back and revisit Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, because those movies are not bad movies. They're actually really good, in my opinion. Some of you guys out there might disagree with that, but I think there's such good takes on these characters, and I've been a fan of these characters since forever, really, and I just think it's such a unique and interesting take. Um, Going back to Justice League, though, um, I even kind of like the Whedon cut. The 2017 version. I kind of liked it, but it was so different. I could tell right away. It's just the music was different. Batman was just completely out of character from what we saw in Batman v Superman. Superman had that weird CGI lip. I mean, that movie felt like to me, I don't know, like a Saturday morning cartoon. It was okay. It was okay. Not gonna hate on it. But it wasn't Zack Snyder's vision, and that's the thing that really upset me about it. because based on those first two movies, it really set up this world that Zack Snyder had in mind, and then we got this Saturday morning cartoon. It wasn't right. So now that we have the real Justice League movie, it was so refreshing to see, man, especially as a big fan. So, like I said, this isn't going to be a biased review. It's not even going to be a review. It's just me singing its praises. I mean, when I was sitting there watching it, I was in disbelief. Like almost like as soon as the movie starts, I was like, I cannot believe I'm watching this right now. And right off the bat, man, dumb joke. Right off the bat, it just immediately felt like a different movie, and I knew immediately that I was gonna love every single bit of the 4 hours we're gonna get. You gotta understand, I was one of the fans that's been championing the release the Snyder Cut movement since day one. Because even though I said I kind of like the Whedon version, but after watching this one, how could I even say that? That's like that's sacrilegious to say that. But Saturday morning cartoon fun, I guess. But as soon as that movement started to develop, and it is started to get going, like right after that movie came out, and I've been championing it since day one because I could recognize that so much of it was taken out. There was stuff that I saw in those first trailers that I got super hyped for, and there's so much of it that wasn't in that movie that was in the theaters. So that's where I'm coming from. I've been championing the movement since day one, and you're not gonna get a biased review. You're just gonna hear me singing its praises. I'm not gonna spoil it. No spoilers in this, so don't worry about that. But if you haven't seen it yet, just hearing my thoughts. But it's already been out for like a day or two, so chances are you already saw it. But this movie was mind blowing. I mean, there were 4 years of naysayers, haters on the internet saying it didn't exist, all that kind of stuff, all this noise about it's impossible, just shut up, and all that kind of stuff. And, all the fan outcry, it all turned out to be worth it because now we have this movie. Now we can go and see it. Or we don't have to go anywhere. We just sit at home and watch it. But I gotta say, man, the characters were handled so well, and the main thing that I really liked about this movie compared to the previous version, which some people call the original, which that was not the original. What we have now is the original. This should be considered the Justice League movie. Because in that last version of Justice League, the Joss Whedon cut, it sort of felt like the Justice League was like once it was assembled and then they brought Superman back, it was kind of like, all right, well, we don't need all those other guys because Superman did all the heavy lifting and he saved the day. So it was almost like the only purpose of the Justice League was to bring Superman back. So I didn't really like that. So in this one, the thing that I loved so much was that every member of the team was significant. No one was left out. Everyone had their spotlight, their MVP moment. And, everyone got a chance to shine, and that was so cool about it. I thought that the two characters that I was most impressed with were Cyborg and Flash, and those are the two characters that didn't really get to do much in the previous version. So, man, I was just entirely impressed with Cyborg and the Flash. Those two in particular. Cyborg's character development was really fleshed out. We got to see way more about his origins. We saw how he got to be Cyborg and him dealing with the implications of these new powers and skill sets he's been given. Trying to juggle that on top of this broken relationship that he has with his father. I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, man, Cyborg was. I mean, he ended up being one of my favorite characters in that movie, and that's not how I felt when I saw that first one, the first cut of the movie. So, yeah, man, and the Flash had this amazing sequence towards the end of the movie that blew my mind. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. You gotta go see it, and chances are You already saw it, and you just want to hear what people have to say on YouTube about it. Like that's how cool this movie is. Um, and you know, and those are the two that stuck out to me the most. But I would say that every member of the Justice League, I'm talking Batman, I'm talking Wonder Woman, Superman, all of them. There were they just there were cooler action scenes. Shots were. It seemed like they cut out so much for that Whedon cut, and I'm sitting there watching it like, why did they take this stuff out? And I've noticed some people out there saying that this movie, oh, it's the same movie, it's just a little bit longer, but that's totally disingenuous. This is it has a totally different feel. I mean, I guess the basic structure of the story is the same, but everything's fleshed out. The characters' um, motivations are all laid out, and um, everything plays out organically. And as long as the movie is, it doesn't feel long because uh, every scene, every moment plays against each other, and um, it really builds up the story. Man, I love this movie. And it seemed like Joss Whedon wanted to make the movie funnier or something, but dude, that like none of the jokes landed in that 2017 cut. And Barry Allen was super cringy. Like there was a line in that movie that it felt unnecessary. Um, I don't know I don't know what kind of humor Joss Whedon has, but it didn't resonate with me. But Barry Allen was a super likable character in Zack Snyder's Justice League. All the characters were likable, but in particular, Barry Allen and Victor Stone. Those are the two characters that I felt like. And Batman. I mean, the I guess now that I'm thinking about it, all those characters are really poorly handled, and I think it's because I can't even fault Joss Whedon because he wasn't the one that worked on Man of Steel. He wasn't the one that worked on Batman v Superman. All this stuff was in Zack Snyder's head, and who knows? Maybe it was the studio executives. I don't know whose fault it was, but that movie was ripped apart and just changed so much. So just being able to see this version, the way Justice League was supposed to be, um, man, it's just so good to see. The scenes were um, just so epic. I mean, you guys know Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder knows how to make a shot look super cool. Um, he utilizes the slow mo and really makes the scene pop. And man, I can't stop singing praises of Zack Snyder's visual storytelling. Um, you know, People might have some discrepancies um, about his storytelling, I guess, in his movies. Like that's some of the criticisms that I see, but I feel like whatever is lacking in that department, he tells the stories like visually. He really is a visual storyteller, and I don't think there's any director that does it better than he does. Like he created like a new language for films. I think I stole that from somewhere. I heard someone say it, but it makes sense. Like he developed um, like a way of he uses a lot of symbolism. He knows how to use the elements, like the way that he uses like the weather, like whether it's rain or snow. There's like sparks in the background. Um, he knows how to make like a dude just standing there in the rain like be epic, and you'll start to feel emotional. I don't know if this is just me, but some of you guys know what I'm talking about. But I'm just a big fan of Zack Snyder's visual language. You know, whatever is lacking in his storytelling skills, he makes up for um, his visual storytelling. And I gotta say, out of all his movies, the story for this one seems the most cohesive and the most um, structured and everything makes sense. As far as I can tell, maybe I'm dumb. Maybe some of you guys are smarter than me, but I felt like this one didn't have any plot holes or anything like that. Not that I noticed any plot holes in his other movies. I'm just that big of a fan. I'm really confused by all the hate that's slung toward Man of Steel and Batman v Superman because I really like those too. Just expressing my thoughts. Hopefully, someone out there knows what I'm talking about. But apart from the characters being handled well, the action scenes being epic, the story being more cohesive, and all those things, I think one of the things that really enhanced the experience was Junkie XL's music. I'm not knocking on Danny Elfman because I think he's great. You know, he's known for the iconic Batman theme song from the Burton movies, and he even did the opening theme song for Batman the Animated Series, and I love his work for the Spider-Man movies. So I don't want to knock on Danny Elfman, but based on the two previous movies that Zack Snyder did for the DC universe, Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, Junkie XL's music style just worked. It just fit better, and it was a more symbiotic relationship between Zack Snyder's directing style, the crazy action, the epic feel to it, and Junkie XL's music really did that. It was just such a good pairing to the point where because there were some Zack Snyder scenes and shots that were used in that 2017 version, but it wasn't as impactful with the Danny Elfman stuff. It didn't fit. You guys know what I'm talking about. Junkie XL's music literally changed the whole feel, and so even though the structure of the movie is the story is basically the same, it felt like a brand new experience. I loved it. Were there some stuff in the movie that I didn't agree with? Sure, but everything in the story made sense. Everything played out organically. Little to no plot holes. I already said that. I'm talking too much. But Zack Snyder took advantage of that long run time. Not a single moment was wasted. And he did use a bunch of slow-mo and stuff, but I love that. I love when he does that. Because you get to have a good look at these characters. Everybody just looks so cool. Like that's that's the best way that I can describe Zack Snyder's directing style. He just makes everything and everyone looks so cool. Anyways, I've been talking a while. I love this movie. It's a great experience. I was completely beside myself the whole time. And just being able to see Zack Snyder's vision of these characters as he intended, it was a cathartic experience. I loved it. If you love DC Comics, you like superhero action, you like stories of redemption and reconciliation, you need to get on HBO Max and watch the crap out of this movie. Watch it a couple times. You probably already have, and if you haven't, what are you waiting for? So, I love this movie, and I promise you're going to have a hootenanny of a time, and it's quite the experience. Thanks for listening to my little spiel on this movie. If you like hearing my thoughts on things, leave a comment below, give a thumbs up, subscribe, show me you care, and maybe I'll do more of these. Or this will be the only one. It depends on where the interest is. So in the meantime, go watch my other stuff on my channel. And I appreciate you listening. Peace.
family household pets became wisecracking amphibians. Pizza-loving amphibians. Amphibians.